up, y'all? That is a tune called Gallagher's Frolics. It was one that I got a request for, one to do like a long form video on, and I thought I was going to be able to just copy and paste a link and go, yeah, I've already done it. But sure enough, I hadn't. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to bust it out. And I'm playing this MK whistle here that I haven't really played a whole lot, and of course my windward flute, so let's break down. This tune's in the key of E minor, and we're playing on a D whistle, which means we're playing in G position, or G fingering, E minor being the relative minor of G. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I've got a video on whistle keys that you can check out that might be of some value, but in the meantime, just follow along and hope for the best. We're going to start with just the basic melody here of the A part. Nice and slow, nice and easy, kind of like the first half of the A part. So here we go. First half. Second half is sort of a repeat, at least the beginning of it is a repeat, but the end of it just rounds out a little bit differently. So here we go. And that's the whole thing. That whole thing would repeat, so you get two A's, two B's, fairly standard. I'll play the whole A part all the way through, nice and slow. Here we go. Hopefully you picked up on the fact that there's a question of phrasing there. You have to take a breath at some point, or at least I did when I played it at that tempo, and then you have to delete a note. You have to make room for your breath. So deciding when to delete that note, when to choose the phrasing, pretty important, and it really kind of dictates the flow of the tune. So keep that in mind when you're playing it, particularly when you're playing it at that tempo. Now we're into the B part, which means we're in the second octave E to start on. Nice and slow, basic melody. Here we go. That's the first half. The second half is actually going to sound a little bit familiar because it kind of ends the same way that the first half of the A part does, or the second half of the A part. Yeah, second half of the A part does. Second half now nice and slow. Again, that's the whole B part, right? So we'll play the whole thing all together. Nice and easy, nice and slow. Here we go. Don't forget to clear your whistle from time to time. Here we go. All the way through, nice and easy. Success. Hope. I'll play it once through again, all the way through AABB. Just play along as much as you can here and see how you do. You know, use this as a practice tool, right? So here we go. Nice and easy. 3, 4. Again, success, hopefully. you got through that. Use that, kind of go back through and play it if you need to. Use it as sort of a baseline before we dive into the ornaments. Now there's a lot you can do with this tune, a lot of rolls and a lot of variations, which I'm not going to go too crazy on here. If you really want to deep dive this with me, I've got another follow-up video to this on my Patreon where we go through all the excruciating minutia of it. I'll link that down below as well. Feel free to check that out, as well as tabs and sheet music and all that sort of stuff, if you're so inclined. Name of the game on this one, to me, anyway, to my ear, is rolls. There's lots of spots for that. Anytime you've got those sort of... any of those movements where it's 3 eighth notes back to back and they're sort of bouncing off of a singular one, like E, F, E. Easy option to throw in a roll there. So there's, straight away, right there you get the one on the B as well. You can sit there and roll that a couple of times if you really want to work that. I try not to overdo that, I would say. Now, I like to use the basic melody when I can to kind of remind us that it's still there. I like to slide that end note to finish those phrases. Just a nice, I don't know, on an E minor tune, that's sort of a characteristic of those, and I think it just sells that tune. I don't know, it just kind of works. And as you turn back around, kind of come back off of it a second time when you're going from the end of the first A part back around to the second A part. I think that works pretty well. Again, in the B part, we've got roll opportunities there as well. Right, a couple of those straight away. Could just slide that into that G if you're not super confident in your rolls, particularly on the high end, or you're not super confident in your whistle, like I am because of this here lovely MK whistle. It really kind of depends on how confident you are if you want to hit that or not. So keep that in mind, that you've got a slide as a good option. I will almost always slide that top B for that reason. That's a tough note to hit, even the best of days. Slide gives you a little bit of extra confidence when you can slide into it. Almost always will hit that cleanly if you can slide off of it. Makes it a little easier, I think. There's a little triplet in there, which I kind of did when I was playing it up-tempo with all the ornaments and stuff. It's not my favorite triplet on the whistle, which is that C natural one that I harp on about so much. This one is F sharp, let's say F sharp, G, A. You could do sort of a tonguing thing there to give it some punch, but it's not one that I regularly do and regularly practice with, so I don't use it a whole ton. It kind of fits this tune. If you can get it, punchy. Same thing, there's slides all through that sort of descending phrase. A couple of those that you can throw in there. Just gives it a little bit of that jig lift. I mean, ultimately, that's really what we're going for, is the where it's got that bounce to it. Even if it's written out as 6/8 notes, it's not really played that way. It's played with so much more distinction between the notes. So if you're interested in some of the deep dives and the variations and all the other things that we can do with this tune, please do check me out on Patreon. Lots more happening over there. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.